Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Tell me, my son.
I have a YouTube channel, and I've been restoring a lathe.
Aye, a poor choice in career, but not something requiring penitence.
I promised my viewers that I would buy all the parts online, that everything was available. But last week, I cast 3 things myself.
My son, you'll restore 3 socket sets and 5 monkey wrenches for your penitence, and you will be forgiven.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. I will do that. Thank you. Yep. So I lied to you all. I said that I was going to restore this lathe using nothing but readily available parts.
So any part you're going to want for this, you can find on eBay or Marketplace or something like that.
So yeah, I could have bought them online. They're there on eBay, as you can see here. Lots of stuff that you can buy on eBay. But, you know, I have a dad that casts things, so why buy them? Why spend money when I can melt beer cans and old lawnmowers and make new parts? So follow me along this week as we get these new parts to work and look like factory. So here's everything we're working on this week. This is the switch holder, sits on top of the bull guard. This is, you've seen these before. I made another one a few months ago. This is a smaller version of it. This is a carriage stop. This is a thread dial. And this is a collet rack, which we'll show you how that all goes together. So this I pretty much already finished. I had dropped the cast iron one, this one here, and we glued it back together and then used it as a pattern to make this one. And it already fits. So that's job done for that one. I think the first thing we're going to start off with today is the harder of the projects, which is this, the thread dial. First, to explain what a thread dial is to the uninitiated, this is the thread dial on my South Bend 13. It has a gear right here, which meshes with the lead screw. And it tells you on here these numbers. If you're cutting an even number of threads, like 10 threads per inch, 30 threads per inch, 24 threads per inch, you can pull this lever anytime that this dial is on an even number. Now, I've never cut odd number threads, so I don't exactly know how to do that. But this is so the cutter goes back in at the exact same time to continue cutting threads. Today, we're going to be making this dial itself, this little part here, the shaft that it goes into, and putting that into this here. These parts cost between $100 and $200 on eBay. Now, you can buy 3D printed ones for about $40. And I've done that, but they're not, the quality is all over the place. Some of them are very good. Some of them are quite crappy. I did find a company that makes replacement gears for the originals, and this was like $25 for the gear. So that's really the only part of this that I can't make, and we're going to do that. Let's measure how large this dial has to be. So it appears to be somewhere in the realm of 950 thousandths. dimension, but that's what I got. All right, so we'll go with. Oh, I have chucked up this oddly shaped piece of aluminum, and we're gonna see if I can turn that into the dial. I thought I had something to size, but I guess I don't. All right, let's see if this fits. And that fits right in there perfectly. All right, our next job with that is to poke out a hole that goes all the way through this that fits this shaft here, which is going to be the main shaft of the thing. Here I am using a boring bar to get the dimensions spot on so I can have a press fit of the dial. We'll hit it with a hammer and it'll be a little bit of a slight press fit. Now we got to cut that off. All right, so I'm just going to stick this in there. Pull this up to here until it backs off right on top of it. Lock the carriage. And now I know that that's in a good place. Anytime now. And Yahtzee! Huzzah! We got the part. Next, we want to determine how long we want the shaft to be. So we're going to stick this in here, put the gear on it. Pretty much down to there. Tighten her up. And there will be a little bit of a round bit on the top of it, but yeah. We're gonna use the mark, this thing here. Mark it. And we're gonna throw on a collet chuck. Put our shaft in there. Now you will notice that this shaft is it's a punch, it's a center punch, but I did anneal it the other night. So we have that. This is what the on the end of the 13 looks like. See, it's a little round. And then on the very end, it gets a little ball grease filler, oil filler. That's in the male. All right, now we're gonna press fit this in here. We found a low spot in the workbench. We grab a hammer and we just and that's press fit on there. And now we're gonna machine it a little bit more. Hey Lefty, how are you gonna put those evenly placed marks on the dial, like on the bigger one? Well, I'll show you. First of all, you put a pointy bit in there sideways. As you see, it's pointing like that. So I wish you could see what I'm doing here better, but basically I'm scratching in the markings onto the dial using a sideways put-in cutting tool. And I go in a certain depth, and then I use the 4 evenly spaced bolts around the collet chuck to clock it. You'll see we have 4 perfectly spaced 90 degrees apart markings. And then we just stamp them. And then we just take our stamps, line it up there on the short ones, and we get a 1. Let's see. There it is. That'll be submitting along. If you're cutting an even number thread, when it lands on an even number, you pull your lever and you start cutting threads. All right, so we got these in the mail, which are, I ordered 2, but somehow got 2 bags, so I have a boatload of them. And because these are very small and metric, because I can only find them in metric, the 6mm, I had to get a 6mm drill bit. So we have the dial chucked up in the collet chuck, and then we're going to put the 6mm drill bit in here. We're just going to go out a little bit.
So now the oil ball filler is in there. And I drilled a hole down the center of the shaft and went across so that when I stick my oil can in there, I can get oil on the shaft, which is how they made it in the factory. Now we're going to work on the carriage stop. This doesn't actually require a lot of work. Straight out of the cast after you cut off the screws, all it needs is just a couple of holes drilled in it and some tapping, and it's done. Next we have the collet rack. These was an item that was available on South Bend Lathes. You see it here in an ad from 1956. And you would put your collets in here. And collets are just like what I've been using all on the 13. They were just a little bit different. I got some coming in the mail for this lathe. So hopefully they get here before I got to get this video out and I can show them to you. All the other things we made today, we used apart from my father's lathe as the pattern. But this, I have never actually had a real one. So using measurements from the internet and people I know who own lathes, we measure them up. And it's even got the little lip here that we milled out of this wood. We made this pattern years ago. And Dad just used it to make this one. Now, as you notice, it's supposed to have this small divot here. I don't know what that's for. The bullnose collet holder that looks like it goes in there doesn't fit in there. This casting got a little messed up. I'm not trying to pretend this is a real genuine South Bend part. So like, I'm not going to go and try to machine this because that would be really hard. You know, I'm going to paint this up, clean it up, drill a hole in the back, and you'll see what it looks like. All right, well, this is how you drill the hole down the center. As you can see, I already did it. So this is more of a reenactment. But you drill in a really slow speed, and you just go, and it drills the hole out. See how the table's on an angle there? That's how you do it. All right, so we threw some primer on here and got a little bit of low spots. We're just going to fill it with some red putty, spot filler, and should be good. All right, so the red stuff's all dry. We're just gonna... So this is the mount right here for the collet rack. It's just a piece of gas pipe with a flange on it. I actually made the pipe part before, but I used it to bend the Allen key on the New Britain socket set and screwed it up. So I get to make it again. Yay! Here I am parting off the end of the pipe that I'm using for the collet rack mount. And machining the end of it so it fits in the 3/4 inch hole. All right, here's the rack after a spot of paint. Back here. There we go. All right, so here's what it's for. The collets haven't come in yet, but you can put some tools in it. Put your other thing up here. Put this thing. That's all. Right at easy access for when you want to use it on the machine. You don't have to go looking through the drawer. It's there. All right, so here we go. We got the collet rack all finished up. We've got the thread dial all finished up and the stop. Oh, and also the switch mount thing here. I thought those turned out really, really good. I'm really happy with it. I know I wasn't 100% truth with y'all with that, but you still can buy these if you'd like. I just chose not to. And about that whole 5 socket sets and 3 monkey wrenches, I don't know if I really feel like doing that.
Lefty!
Maybe I do. Yeah. Maybe we'll do that next week. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next week.